Hey, what's up guys, Jaeky here. Today we're going to be reviewing the Manba 1 wireless gaming controller. This is typically something that I wouldn't be reviewing on my channel, but honestly guys, this product is really cool and it ticks a lot of different boxes that I would want if I was out there shopping for a gaming controller. This is definitely a controller that would catch my attention. Let's just start with the price. So this comes in at $70 USD, which isn't super cheap, but it's also not really that expensive, especially when you compare it to other high-end controllers, some of which can go up to a couple hundreds of dollars. $70 is a pretty solid price, especially considering what you're getting. Starting off here, the main selling points is going to be this 2-inch display that you get on the controller. You can use this to change a bunch of different settings, but you also have Hall effect joysticks here. This means that you get really accurate tracking with the joysticks compared to conventional joysticks. This uses Hall effect technology, which means that you get really precise tracking. Not only that, but you also get 4 remappable back buttons here that you can remap to anything you want, and you get a charging dock as well. There's 4 different modes of Hall effect that you can choose on the joystick, so there's different profiles that you can choose depending on how you want your joysticks to feel and respond. You have 800 Hz of wired polling rate and no dead zone whatsoever, which is perfect for FPS games. And of course, if you're a fan of RGB, there is also RGB on this controller. You also have adjustable vibration strength, so if you want a different vibration intensity, you can adjust that as well. And this controller also comes with 2 different joysticks. You have a long joystick and a short joystick depending on which feeling you want. They recommend the long joystick for racing games and short joystick for shooting games. So that's pretty crazy that at this price point you're getting this much in a controller. That's not even it. There's also a magnetic cover that you can take off to personalize your controller and swap out with different faceplates. So yeah, like I said guys, for $70 you are getting a lot for your money. So let's get this open and we can see what actually comes in the box. Some of you may know that I've recently been playing some Expedition 33, and I do enjoy some casual controller games every now and then. For that, I've been using this Xbox controller, which works perfectly fine, but sometimes I do wish that I had more of a premium controller experience, which really is what this Manba kind of brings to the table for not that much more than the Xbox controller. So in the box, you get the controller itself, very nicely packaged. As you can see, you get some foam on the joysticks just to protect them. This is the white version right here. It comes in 2 different colorways. You have black or white that you can choose from. And then here you have that 2-inch screen. And it's shaped very similarly to the Xbox controller, which I really have no complaints about. I find that the Xbox controller shape is quite ergonomic for my hands. And yeah, it feels quite comfortable in the hand. It is a plastic material here. In the box, you also get the wireless charging stand. Speaking of charging, the Manba 1 comes with a built-in 1800 milliamp hour battery, which should give you plenty of battery life. And also this is a smart charging dock, which comes with a smart wake up and also a charge reminder, which is really nice to see. You just have some contact pins here that you just plop your controller on. And then on the back is a USB-C port. On the front, you also have a LED as well to give you an indicator of the charging status. Next in the box is the wireless dongle. It is USB-A and also has an LED on it as well. On the bottom of the charging station, there's actually a compartment here for you to plug in the wireless dongle. As you can see here, goes in just like that, and then you plug this charging station into your PC, and that's how your controller will connect. You can also plug this dongle straight into your PC as well. In the box, you also get a quick start guide and these extra long joysticks that I mentioned earlier. So pre-installed on the controller are these shorter joysticks, but if you want to swap it out for these longer ones, you can. You also get a customer service card and also what seems to be a screen protector for the actual screen on the controller, which is pretty interesting. And finally, we get a USB-C to USB-A cable if you want to use this controller wired for that 800 Hz polling rate. This is not braided, just a regular rubber USB-C to USB-A. Alright guys, and that's pretty much everything that you get in the box. Going over the actual controller itself, the clicks here are actually very similar to mouse clicks rather than your typical controller click. So like on my Xbox controller, the buttons here have quite a bit of travel on them and they feel somewhat mushy, but the buttons on the Manba 1 have more of a tactile click with very little pre and post travel. The D-pad here as well is more muted compared to my Xbox controller. That's actually one thing I didn't like about my Xbox controller is the D-pad is super loud on the Xbox controller, whereas the D-pad on the Manba 1 is actually pretty soft and not that audible, which I like. And the joysticks here feel super smooth. Honestly, they don't feel too different from my Xbox controllers, but I'm sure the Hall effect will make them track a lot more accurately, and there's also no dead zone on the Manba 1 as well. And also pressing in the joysticks here just feel like a standard controller. You can see on the bottom here you have your start, back, and other buttons as well. These just feel like regular buttons. The right and left button as well as the triggers feel pretty nice. The buttons are nice and tactile, and the triggers don't feel mushy whatsoever. But yeah, nothing out of the ordinary, they just feel like regular controller buttons, and they are textured here as well, which is a nice touch. So here's a quick sound test of the Xbox controller buttons compared to the Manba 1 buttons. Alright guys, on the back of the controller here you have your linear Hall effect trigger switch. So as you can see, if I have it set to the long position, there's more travel on this trigger, whereas if I set it to the short position, there's less travel there, so you can actually limit how much your trigger depresses, which can be useful depending on what game you're playing. You also have these 4 buttons here, like I mentioned earlier, that you can remap to anything you want, as well as an on-off switch. And then obviously your 3 contact prongs for when you're charging the controller. So when gripping the controller normally, it is very easy to press these buttons. I wouldn't see myself pressing them accidentally, but they are very easy to reach with my middle finger, which is nice. And also, like I mentioned earlier, the faceplate here on the controller is removable. So if you just pull up like this, you can take off the faceplate and customize the controller. This clear version that comes with the white version is pretty cool because it lets you see into the controller there. But yeah guys, overall it feels pretty nice in the hand. It is a pretty light controller considering it is a plastic body, but in no ways does that make it feel cheap in any way. It is slightly heavier though than my Xbox controller. Alright guys, so now I have the controller all plugged in here. And to be completely transparent, the first controller that Manba actually sent out was dead on arrival. So when I tried to turn on the controller, literally nothing happened. And so they actually had to send out a replacement controller. So I just thought I'd let you guys know. But yeah, it was really simple to get a replacement controller. Their support was very helpful. So if you guys are met with a controller that is dead on arrival, just reach out to their support team and hopefully they are just as helpful with you. So yeah, just to be completely transparent, I thought I'd let you guys know. But let's get into the menu here. So you can do pairing right here if you are pairing via Bluetooth with like an Android device, for example. Down here for mode, you can switch it to either receiver, Bluetooth. You can also do Android here or iOS. All of this is through Bluetooth. Down here in the settings, you can change the configs. Seems like there's different profiles here as well as a switch profile. So yeah, you can remap all of the keys, which is pretty cool. And then on the right here, you can change those 4 back paddles. You can also reset everything as well. For the joystick, you can change the curve like I mentioned earlier. You have a default mode, immediately mode, which is apparently recommended for fighting games, a latency mode for role-playing games, and then a high performance mode. And you can see when I change it, it shows how it changes the curve there. And you can do this separately for the right and left joystick. Here you can change the dead zone as well. I'm going to set both to 0% dead zone so that it's as responsive as possible. You can also change the trigger dead zone as well. And you can change the distance required to fully activate the trigger. So if you want it to be a lot more sensitive, and you only have to press it down a little bit to fully activate the trigger, you can do that. And then down here, you can change the vibration as well. And it also gives you a preview as you scroll through these different modes. You can either turn the vibration completely off, or you can set it to super high. So that's pretty much it for the main settings. Down here on display, you can change the brightness of the screen. You can also change the RGB, and then you can choose between the different effects. There's always on, breathing as well as just completely off. I'm going to set it to completely off. And down here under more, you can change the language as well. Calibration here for your joystick trigger and motion control. So let's try this joystick calibration really quick. And then finally here you can do button testing. So you can just test out all of your buttons here to make sure everything is working. So that's pretty cool that there's a built-in controller tester. And then you also have a QR code here for the user manual. And that's pretty much it for the settings. Okay, so yeah, on the home page here, you can just see what you're connected to as well as your battery life. And then to actually access the menu, you just hold the home button here for 3 seconds. So very easy to use. Now let's actually try this controller in-game to see if there's any noticeable latency and just to see how it feels. Alright guys, here we are on a bit of Hollow Knight, which I have recently just started, like literally I'm at the very beginning of this game. But latency wise, feels pretty solid. There's no real noticeable latency. It feels pretty instant, like the dead zone on the controller too. Literally no dead zone. Yeah, like as soon as I move my joystick even a little bit, immediately the character moves on screen. And if you do want a dead zone, it is adjustable, like I showed earlier, so you can add a dead zone if you want that. Really no noticeable latency at all. Feels super snappy. The vibration's nice as well. It's very uniform throughout the entire controller. I just walked into a boss fight of some kind. Oh god. Oh my... I'm getting absolutely demolished right now, and I just got clapped. Okay, clearly no clue what I was walking into right there. But yeah, no, this controller feels super solid to use. One thing that I really like a lot over the Xbox controller is the buttons here. Like I said, they feel very similar to mouse clicks, and I really like that. There's no super long travel time. There's no like post-travel or anything. It's just when you press the button, it's very, very clicky and tactile, which I really like. And the D-pad as well, I haven't had to use the D-pad at all, but the Xbox D-pad was super loud and I could actually hear it through my headphones, whereas this one is very quiet. So yeah, definitely worth checking out if you are looking for a solid controller to use with your PC or even with your mobile device. Again, my only real concern is that quality control, since my first unit that I got was defective, but my experience with getting it replaced through their support was very straightforward and pretty hassle-free. All I really had to do was send them a video of the controller not working, and they were able to send a replacement out relatively quick. But yeah guys, that is the Manba 1 controller. If you guys do want to check it out, I will leave a link to it in the description below. But I hope this video was helpful, and if it did help, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.